Hello and welcome to another episode of It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of nerd knowledge get together each week to have a chat about all things geek. My name is Rich Gittins, and joining me this week and every week, it's my buddy, Nathan Webb, and the Smeat dog, Natalie Smeaton. Hey, it's Matt.
Oh God, that was so horrendously on street. I've tried to do a finger gesture that I don't think has ever been done on a street in the world.
Go on. I missed it.
I don't even know. It was something to do with
doing.
It was very.
It was...
Live long and prosper, geeks. Yeah.
Fringe.
Wow.
Yeah, we both looked painfully white then when we did that, frankly.
Yeah, man, and painfully about to be 43 as well. It's
oh,
not
dude,
anymore.
44 this month. I'm 44 this month.
I don't know what's going on, man. I don't think we were meant to get this old, man.
No.
Right. Do any of you feel as old as you actually are, or do you feel like you should be younger?
I would like to say that one, I'm 46 this year. I don't feel it at all. But neither of you two.
Than us.
No. I'm 2 years older than you, but neither of you two look like you're in your 40s. True story.
It's because we never grew up.
See, this is why we keep this is why we asked Nat to be a part of the show. Because she makes us feel so good about ourselves. Not like that Chris Lumb, who isn't here this week.
What a loser.
Yeah.
Got no Lummy. We've got no Gary Maselli. Gary's not here either. He's away making movies.
Gary.
Yeah,
we're missing you, boys.
Really.
We're missing you. Yeah, exactly. We're missing you, boys. I'm looking forward to having you back on the show.
Let's look on the positives, though. We could talk about Harry Potter.
We can talk about Harry
Potter.
The
forbidden subject.
Although I've been watching the shows that I've been missing, and it seems like you've been talking about nothing but Harry Potter while I've been away. Like last week and the week before, there was loads of Harry Potter chat.
Oh, we just set it up to look like that. We put a virus on your computer every time you try to watch It's All Geek to Me. There's something you wanted to talk about, just to mess with you. Just with that technically savvy, we can do that. It's no problem.
It's very impressive.
Cool. I am very, very impressed. I'm very, very impressed, Webby. Well, this week we are going to be having a look. I'm not sure if it's going to be our final in the Harry Potter series because there is always the Fantastic Beasts films. We might get on to talk about how we found about them at the end of this show, and also there's the Cursed Child as well. So we could maybe have an extra bonus Harry Potter video, but this is our finale of the main series. We're going to be looking at the Deathly Hallows, both films, and the final book. And holy cow, what a death fest this film is. I mean, it's machine gun of gut punches, almost right from the very first page. It's horrendous.
It's like J.K. Rowling took my heart like that and then crushed it into tiny pieces, but then wasn't happy with that and then dropped it on the floor and did a shit on it. That's how upsetting it is.
Yeah.
And then she burned it.
I tell you how upsetting it is. This is how upsetting it is.
Hedwig.
That is how upsetting it is.
Even the freaking owl was upset.
Yeah.
Hedwig was oh, dude, don't start with Hedwig.
Well,
I feel like these books, all right, and the films, that once that first death actually happens, are we talking going all the way back to Goblet of Fire with Cedric Diggory?
Yeah.
Once that happens, it's just bring it on. Let's
all bets are off.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Yeah,
nobody's safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we just got a little comment in the comment section below. Our good friend Martin.
Martin.
Evening, Squire.
A little Nat rant. There we go. How you doing, Martin? You all good, buddy? Welcome everyone to the show. Feel free to leave a comment down below, just like our friend Martin did. There we are talking about Deathly Hallows finale of the Harry Potter series, Martin. That's what's going to be going on. Those of you who have just joined us late. So, where were we just then? What were we talking about?
Well, I believe where we were 6 months ago, where we were just talking about the end of Harry Potter Book 6, Film 6, talking about the fact that Harry broke the news to his pals that he's not going back to Hogwarts. He's going to fucking sort everything out. I'm going to go find Voldemort, kick his butt, and all that, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a line in it that he definitely said that.
Yeah.
But also, we've just lost Dumbledore as well, haven't we?
I mean, yeah. I mean, because there are so many deaths in this film, in this book, I guess we'll get onto all of that in the end. Maybe kind of which death affected us the most. It's gonna be a cheery episode this week, isn't it? But we'll try and make it lighthearted. I mean, because not all of them were decent. Yeah, I mean, we didn't like all of them. You know, some of them are a bit shit, like Colin Creevy.
Now,
I mean,
can you remember back to a time where Book 6 had just finished and Book 7 wasn't out yet, and we had to wait? And you're thinking all that time while the seventh book's waiting, you're thinking, he's not dead. They're going to find a way to cleverly bring him back. They're going to, there's every chance it's just a mistake.
And it wasn't.
Dumbledore, yeah. No, there was that little bit. All right, okay. So did you read the book before the films, Webby?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think I read all the books before I even saw the first film.
So how soon after? How soon after release did you get that seventh book?
The day it came out. Like everybody.
Were you queuing up at midnight, or were you?
The fifth book. Right, I got the fifth book the day it came out, and I went to Glastonbury. I went to Glastonbury, and I took the book with me because I was like, well, I don't really see how I can not read it now I've got it. And I managed to squeeze in a few chapters while I was at Glastonbury Festival.
I'm impressed, actually.
I know, that's dedication, right?
Impressive.
Yeah.
That's
So that must have been 2003, 2004, because that's the last time I went to Glastonbury, 2004. So it was either that one or 2003. I can't remember when the fifth book came out. But yeah, such was my anticipation to read the next part of the saga. I had to, I'm very much, if I'm into something, I want to see it the minute it comes out. I want to watch it when it's streamed straight away. I want to finish what I'm already invested in.
Those of you that have just joined us late, we are talking. You're right there, Nat. You're right there. Nat's been molested by her cat. And we are discussing the final part of the Harry Potter series. We're looking at the Deathly Hallows, and we're looking at parts 1 and parts 2 of the films.
Oh, it's very moody. Look at those posters.
Yeah. Right. Well, okay, which book cover did you get? It's the one that I got.
That's the one I got, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Did you get
any of the adult version ones, or did you always get the slightly more? Because there was 2 versions, wasn't there, over here? You had the child's one.
I'm not that insecure that if somebody's staring at me reading Harry Potter, I'm not afraid to go, yo, what's your problem, man? I'm reading a book. Get over it. You know what I mean?
Also,
I'm happy to defend my Harry Potter argument. Fair enough. It might start out like a children's book a little bit, or it's meant to be accessible, right? It's meant to be something fun that you can read to your kids. But with a story like this, you can't exactly keep it like that.
Nah.
And I think that J.K. Rowling stepped up the writing as per the age of the characters. So as they get into their teens, the writing gets a little bit more juicy, a little bit more, directed towards more of an adult market, I guess. I mean, not to the degree. I'd still read it if they all sprouted pubes and started fingering each other. I think that would be. I'd still read that.
Active fingering.
Sorry.
Second time tonight.
Speaking of which, sorry, just a little. We don't want to know what's going on in your flat, Nat. So Yellow Jackets. Just as a little aside, Yellow Jackets.
Have you seen Yellow Jackets yet, Nat?
I haven't seen it.
I love it. It's a cross between Lost, Mean Girls, and like some sort of horrible, insane horror.
It's really
cool. Is it like about a plane crash?
It is, yeah. It's about a young women's high school football, soccer team in America who just got to the championships. They all get on a plane. The plane crashes, and they're lost in the woods for 19 months. And I don't know yet, because I've only seen a couple of episodes, but not everybody makes it back because they might have got eaten. So, but
nice.
so it starts like Mean Girls
as well.
Yeah, Christina Ricci, Juliette
She's
Lewis,
brilliant in it. Yeah.
Melanie Linsky, who's a brilliant actress. You might know her from Heavenly Creatures and things like that. But yeah, they're all the adults of the adult version of these kids. That
And the
got
casting's
lost.
amazing because they look
brilliant.
like they did. It's really amazing. They
It's
genuinely
really cool.
look like the younger
So when
versions
you-
of themselves.
So
Amazing.
before the plane crash, when you're looking at them in the 1990, I think it's 1996, just before the plane crash, it's very much like a typical high school. It's a bit like Mean Girls, you know. But then it just takes this dramatic twist, and then it takes another one, and it's just so far only 2 episodes in. I'm dying to watch the rest of it, but my partner's not really into it yet.
Bit Lord of the Flies meets.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, and because that part of it's set in 1996, the soundtrack to it.
Oh
is
yeah, man, it kicks ass.
awesome.
It's cool.
Found myself singing away
What
so
a great
much.
year for music.
Brilliant.
It's
Brilliant.
awesome. Yeah, there's a bit of PJ Harvey in there. You got a bit of Hull. You got some Smashing Pumpkins and all sorts. It's very grungy, but you know it's cool. But also
As
the
with-
incidental music, Rich. The
Yeah.
haunting melodies of the wind
Yeah.
singing in the background. It sounds it's really, really atmospheric.
I'm about 5 episodes in. It's brilliant. But as we're taking a little break from the Harry Potter chat as we just started it, Martin, Gary is making a film, and Lummy is
Making a porno.
making a porno. Yeah, and Martin saw the Batman film. I'm just going to go see it on Friday.
Not around to it
and
yet,
just
man. I can't even
do
discuss it. I'm terrified that someone is going to tell me something about it.
How was it, Martin? Did you enjoy it? And keep your
No
answers
spoilers.
spoiler free. Right. So, okay, yes. So, Yellow Jackets, well worth a watch. But getting back to Harry Potter. So, so what were your feelings about? I mean, so there's quite a few differences between the books and the films. How do you feel about the fact that they put it into 2 films? Do you think they could have gotten away with putting it into 1 film, or do you think?
It felt at the time, didn't it, like they were just stretching it out for more money, personally.
Yeah.
But
Which is
the films
probably
did work.
true.
Yeah, it is.
But when you
definitely
look at them, actually, they're both quite long, and you need all that time to tell the story properly. They still missed things out, didn't they? But can somebody remind me how the first one, part 1, starts? Is it with the Unbreakable Vow?
Yeah, it starts.
I love that.
No, the Unbreakable Vow is in Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, is it?
Where they go to Snape's house. Yeah, no, this starts off with it starts off at Privet Drive, and they're all leaving. So the Dursleys are starting to leave, and Harry and Petunia have that moment, which they don't have in the film. Although there are cut scenes where they do have that moment, and there's a scene where Dudley and Harry kind of have like a little bonding moment as well.
It's quite nice actually.
Yeah, it is.
Are they leaving because of the threat of war? Are they on the run?
They're leaving because they know that houses are going to be unsafe. So basically, it's the point where the Unbreakable Vow. Sorry, it's where the protection of Harry
from his mum,
because it's his 17th birthday. So it's the day that protection field breaks over Privet Drive. So the idea is that the Dursleys are leaving, and Harry's awaiting a rescue party, as it were, to come and take him away.
This is
meanwhile,
where the scientific part of my brain, which isn't massive, but the scientific part of my brain says to me, so you could put a protective spell over your child for exactly 17 years. Why can't you do it a little bit longer? Make it till he's 24. Give the kid a fighting chance. What a useless bit of I can only do magic on a Wednesday. Sorry, guys.
I think because your 17th birthday is quite a magical birthday, so it means that a lot of different sort of things happen at that point. It's like a sort of so I guess that's why the spell conveniently broke out, or inconveniently
also
broke.
Get a job, Harry. Start looking after yourself.
So sponging off your auntie and uncle. They've been so
I'm dead. I can't put that. I protected you dead for 17 years. Protect yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
got
good point. I'm knackered up here.
Got a bank full of gold he can't touch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She came out of a wand when Voldemort came back and was like, just go sort yourself out now. Leave me alone in the afterlife. essentially.
And then you go to Malfoy Manor, where you've got the execution. It's actually the first death where you got the execution of is it Chastity Burbage?
I want to say
Charity Burbage. Charity Burbage. Because I thought it was Charity Babbage for a moment, and I thought, well, Babbage is like something that like a northern doctor asks when they're talking
funny
about
ass name though, Babbage.
How's your Babbage?
Okay. I've got cream for my Babbage.
So we see her being executed. She's one of the teachers. She's the Muggle Studies teacher at Hogwarts. She gets executed, and it's where Snape is trying to reveals that he needs a wand that's going to be strong. So he takes Malfoy's wand from him, Lucius Malfoy's wand from him, because he knows that his wand has a connection with Harry's wand. And they're also discussing when the sort of extradition of Harry from Privet Drive is going to take place, and because they've got spies in the Ministry, and they're about to put in their own Minister of Magic. They've got all these different rumors, and Snape is like, nope, it's definitely happening on this day. And then it cuts back to Privet Drive, where Mad-Eye Moody and
Such
Fleur,
a great scene.
And they all take the Polyjuice potion. Harry doesn't want them to. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's really, really good. And it looks good in the film. It looks really good in the film. That does, actually, when you've got these 7 different Harrys or however many it is that you've got there.
Does Polyjuice potion change a person's voice as well, or do you need a separate potion?
No, I think it changes their voice, because there's the bit in one of the earlier films where Harry and Ron become Crab and Goyle. And they sound like them until it starts to wear off.
Yeah,
and then I think does Ron's voice
squeaky?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, because I remember when Hermione accidentally ingests the one that's got cat hair in it, which is, there's no doubt in my mind that Nat's Polyjuice potion is fucking full of cat hair.
Absolutely, you'd all be
careful with that. Although, who wouldn't want to look like a cat for a bit? It'd be pretty cool. But she's got the same voice, so that it makes sense, because she doesn't actually change. She's still Hermione.
She just gets hairy.
That's right. Yeah. Just very quickly. So no spoilers, thought it was going to be awful. Not a fan of the sparkly one, but came away from the cinema confused. It was my favourite ever Batman movie, or second to Dark Knight. Watch it now.
Oh,
I trust
now, Martin. We're doing this show. You can't do it.
Yeah, I'd love to get hold of a copy. It's going to be a couple of weeks before I get to see it, I think, as well. I'm just a bit swamped. Right, Polyjuice potions, cats.
Yeah.
Hermione, what the fuck are we talking about?
So we're talking about the fact that go on, Nat.
And I was going to say, I just really liked how Daniel Radcliffe was 7 other people, and you could distinctly tell who he was, even though it was Daniel Radcliffe as Hermione with a Polyjuice potion, or Fleur, or Fred, or like you could tell who it was, even though it was Daniel Radcliffe. I liked that bit.
How many of the people who
Daniel
got
Radcliffe did a good performance? Is that what you're saying at that moment?
Yeah, but you know what? It only took him 7 movies. I was going to say, I've been unfair on the child actors in these movies since we started talking about them. But by the 7th, maybe 6th one, they're not too bad. Either you get used to them and you just numb, or they've actually stepped it up a gear and learned to act a bit.
Do you know what? The 6th one, Draco Malfoy in the 6th one in The Half-Blood Prince, I think, in my opinion, is absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely
really good.
Yeah.
He was the standout actor in that movie, Half-Blood Prince, for me. And I think all of the hate to use that word, actors in the last couple of movies are really good.
Yeah, I think that Draco's got a particularly interesting arc, hasn't he? So
he has
actually set up for you as the reader to be the person that one of the people that you detest throughout the whole thing. But when you learn that there's actually a reason behind, he's there for a reason, and it gets interesting.
Still a prick in this film, though. Still a prick until the end.
Yeah, massive one. But then when you watch
until Harry saves his life.
Yeah.
After one of his mates has caused this absolute catastrophe of fire in the room of requirements.
That was the
Harry
working
comes
title
back
for the
and
third
saves
book.
his life. The catastrophe of fire.
Harry Potter.
That's a good word. It's a good word.
That's the adult cover of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's only after he saves his life, and it's that moment, obviously, at the end that allows Mrs. Malfoy as well to actually again save Harry's ass there right at the end. But I'm sure we'll get to that later on.
And then when you watch the Cursed Child or read the script of the Cursed Child, actually it's a much more sympathetic character in that, I think, as a grown-up. And when I went to see the play, me and my best mate called him Hot Draco. Still do.
I thought it meant the
Hello.
Apologies
Hello,
to unhot Draco if you're watching.
Yeah, the current Draco. No idea what the current Draco looked like, but the Draco I saw.
All right. Okay. Well. Okay. If we're talking hot, I mean, we've got this little boy.
Look at him.
Right?
He's going to long bottom up.
Look at his little face. Look at his little long bottom.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
There you are.
I think I know what's coming. There we go.
Hello. And then look at the difference.
Hello, Neville.
Somebody's been hitting the polyjuice potion big time. I reckon. The fuck are them lumps on his belly? What's that?
It's an allergic reaction, I think, to being so fucking good looking.
It's supposed to look like that, is it?
It's crazy, isn't it?
I was going to ask, purely from the point of view of being a childish pervert, how many of those characters that turned into Potter when they drank the polyjuice potion, when the people showed up to his house at the beginning of the 7th movie? How many went and had a little gander at Harry's?
It's the first thing you do.
Absolutely was.
I reckon Ron did. because he's like, oh, I knew it'd be bigger than mine.
I don't think Fleur did, because she was so repulsed at being. Yeah.
I don't think Emma would have done. Well, Emma Mortis. I don't think Hermione would have done. I don't think she would have had a look.
I think she would have done.
Because I think she maybe
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because in the film, again, it gave Harry and Hermione this moment that you didn't have in the books. And it's weird because in the books, the line he says to Ron is, "What are you talking about? I think of her exactly like my sister." But there's like a moment where they almost kiss each other.
Again, so add a little bit more bullshit.
So maybe that Hermione would have done. Had a little cheeky gander.
Maybe.
I mean, any woman, I would imagine, actually thinking about it. I think you're probably right. You know, when you watch the first, what's it called, Jumanji with the rocking, and the character who becomes Jack Black. I mean, she becomes Jack Black. She has a look at it. She talks about how great and how much more useful they are, and how easy it is. Like, yeah, I think women would be very interested to see.
To be fair, if I turned into Nathan, if I took Polyjuice and turned into Nathan, I'd still probably have a look anyway. Just to be like, okay, yeah.
You don't have to. Just wait till the show's over. I'll show you for no.
Again.
No, it's a lot of effort to go to, mate. I just think that the halls of the fifth year of Hogwarts, when they're all 15 years old, is full of kids in the bedroom in the night. And all you can hear when you walk past the rooms is "Engorgio!" And they're just like, really massively, like, Dumbledore's like, right, that's enough. We're cutting you off. No more Engorgio, guys. Longbottom accidentally made his 7 foot long and he couldn't turn it back. And he's had to go see what she called Madame Pomfrey to get it shrunk back to normal. I don't know. Yeah, I know which spells I would abuse if I was at Hogwarts. I put a lot of thought into this.
Well, I mean, this is our fourth episode of Harry Potters. I mean, it's literally been a topic we've talked about every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So then they fall off, and then we okay. So the first death we have is Charity Burbage, which, you know, funny name, but there she is. And then this is where we get our second and third deaths. It's pretty brutal. This is one of the ones that affected me the most.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah. I mean, no need for that.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what the fan theory is, that it wasn't a Death Eater that killed Hedwig. It was Mad-Eye Moody, because it was giving away the real Harry. So the fan theory is Mad-Eye Moody killed Hedwig, so they wouldn't know.
That's a fucking cool theory.
Yeah. So they wouldn't know which really Harry
cool
was
theory.
Harry.
I like that. I approve.
Yeah.
Well, in which case,
I think I'm going to adopt that as my theory.
Okay. Well, it's a good job he got his comeuppance then, because he was the next person to go. Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. I mean, by that point, You spent a whole entire film thinking you know who he is, and it turns out he's a bad guy. You don't really even know him, do we? At this point,
No, exactly that.
We've
Yeah,
never
he
really
isn't
met
a
him.
character that I bonded
Yeah.
with at all.
Except for
of
when he
that whole
turns
David Tennant bit.
Draco into a ferret. That was quite funny.
But that was David Tennant doing that. That wasn't.
Oops.
Sorry, that was not David
Still
Tennant.
gave
That
me a
was
moment.
Barty Crouch Jr. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah, but I
absolutely,
mean, again, when Barty Crouch is in control of Mad Eye Moody, that whole Defense of the Dark Arts lesson where he's messing around with fucking Crucio and killing the spiders
Torturing
and
that
all
spider, yeah.
That's a creepy ass bit. I can't remember if it's in the book, but it's a good little bit.
It is in the book.
It's things like this that make me feel justified in liking these books and movies. Do you know what I mean? There are some really cool little things. But yeah. Mad Eye dies. So that's.
And then they all find themselves back at the burrow. They go into the burrow where there's been protective enchantments put on there. It's like all the might of the ministry have put these protective enchantments on.
Is
the burrow,
that when
so all there.
Bellatrix and Fenrir Greyback show up and start burning the place down?
No, because the enchantments on it, that is later. That's when they go to visit for Christmas.
Oh shit! Have they gone there for the wedding?
They've gone there for the wedding. That's right. Yeah.
So
again,
they do get attacked in the middle of the wedding, don't they?
They do get attacked in the middle of the wedding, and again, that's another bit that we have in the books that they did film, but they actually never included, and that is the Crumb coming to the wedding. It was that whole thing about uniting everybody from the magical world, regardless, even though Crumb had gone to Darmstrang, which was produced lots of dark wizards and stuff, because there was the whole thing about Ron looking on jealously, and they didn't include it in the film, but they did film it.
I love how they give him one emotion per film. Right, Greg,
Yeah.
This one, shock and paranoia. This one, happy. This one, sad. And this one, jealous. All right, you got that? We're not.
He's all we can handle, bless him.
Bless him. Mileage out of that. Brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
I thought we were going to miss Lummy just
talk
bringing
about
stuff up halfway through a conversation, so we're going to have something to play with.
Yeah.
We talk about what?
So in a book, when you're usually reading it and it's setting it up for a love story, a love interest, two characters that you're interested in, does everybody think that? I know there was talk of putting Harry and Hermione together at one point. Did Rowling make the right choice with Ron and Hermione? Because I don't believe them as a couple. I think that she'd be fucking sick of him within 2 weeks.
Well, welcome to that's part of the storyline of the Cursed Child, actually, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Are they getting involved in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's trouble with them. There's a little bit of jiggery pokery with Harry and Hermione in that as well.
Yeah.
Well, she's come out. J.K. Rowling's come out retrospectively and said that she kind of was one of her biggest regrets is having Ron and Hermione getting together, and she wished Harry and.
I'm not saying that I wanted to get with
that kind of annoys
Harry.
me a little bit.
I don't think I mean that I wanted to get with Harry. I think what is wrong with believing that 3 kids went to school together and didn't shag each other and didn't end up getting married and just stayed friends? I would have been perfectly fine with that as an answer. And they all found different partners wherever. Harry has a lot of sort of hookups, a couple of hookups with Cho Chang and
then he marries Ginny.
And Ginny. I mean, that's sweet. I like the Ginny thing, actually. I do think they're sort of meant to be. But more from her angle, more from the way that she's this awkward, gawky teenager who just idolizes him until she comes back from one summer.
But again, she has a similar arc to Neville.
Yeah.
That she's just she's in the end, although like more intellectually, she's like really witty and cunning and brave and bold and strong and like
part of the story.
Awesome female role model. She's great.
She's badass, especially in the book.
Tom Riddle's
exactly,
doesn't she? So she's a part of it from the first year she goes to school.
Yeah, in the second book. Yeah.
I do like all that though. I like the speculation about other students and how they fit into things like Draco's role and things like Longbottom's role. Where for a little bit of time you're not actually sure that Harry is the right good guy because they were born on the same day. They've got a similar arc.
That's right. Yeah.
It seems like Harry was a lot luckier.
I think that the very end and what Neville does at the very end, I know we're probably going to discuss it later, with Nagini, I think actually suggests that Neville could have been just as brave as Harry if he'd have been in the right. Yeah. And actually,
and it was literally Voldemort's more. Voldemort? Are we going to call him Voldemort or Voldemort?
I'm going to go for Voldemort.
It's supposed to be Voldemort because it's like French for death, but so the two Voldemort. This is like Lummy and his Sega and Sega.
I'm not going to be drawn into saying something disparaging about the French, no matter what you try and fool me with. I love the French. Vive la France!
Yes, so Voldemort. It was effectively it was Voldemort who chose who the chosen one was.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, but still, I like it.
It could have been either of them.
That gives you that element of the doubt that from chapter 1 they've told you this is the boy that lived. He's the one that can kill Voldemort. But then somewhere along the line they throw that extra.
It's when they get the prophecy.
Yeah.
And they discover with the prophecy it could be either of them. And then the last big sort of Horcrux death. And one of the reasons why Harry can win his duel is because Neville does what he does with Nagini. And the sword of Gryffindor appears for him. Which
exactly.
Sort of suggests to me that maybe they were both meant to be part of this prophecy and they were both as involved in Voldemort's destruction as each other.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like that. That's what I'm going to take from this.
Okay, so we got to the Burrows. There's a wedding. Bill is marrying Fleur Delacroix.
Yeah. And then we hear about our third death of the.
Have you got all the pictures?
After, because he's already been to visit and given Harry, Ron, and Hermione presents, are they? There's things that that Dumbledore left for them in his will. So he gave
his name. What's his character name?
It is Rufus Scrimmager. Scrimmager, yeah.
Okay.
Rufus Scrimmager.
Yeah.
Okay. So we find out that Dumbledore gave Ron the Deluminator, gave Hermione the Tales of Beedle the Bard, and gave Harry the Sword of Gryffindor, which and the golden snitch that he first caught in his first ever game, which he doesn't really know what it does. It just says it open at the close. We find out.
That mysterious thingy on. Yeah.
And then you realise that this guy wants to help them out on their quest, and everyone knows that they're on this quest, and in the books, Mrs. Weasley is trying to keep them apart from each other because she doesn't want them to be able to hatch a plan, to be able to leave, to be able to go and fight Voldemort. So she gives them all these all these chores to do that are keeping them away from each other on opposite sides. Oh, she's brilliant, isn't she? And then we have obviously Scrimgeour come along. He's asking them just blatantly, "What is the plan? What did Dumbledore tell you?" So if he didn't tell you, then I can't tell you. It's literally that simple. And him and Harry have a bit of an argument, and he tells him that he can't have the Sword of Gryffindor because it's not Dumbledore's to keep or to give away. And then we find out at the wedding. We get the little orb from, I think it is from the really cool wizard who protects the Muggle Prime Minister.
I know what you mean, yeah. I don't know the name.
I can't remember his name. But yeah, it's basically him who tells you that the Ministry's fallen. And then at that point is the bit you were talking about, Webby, where all the Death Eaters start to arrive. And Hermione grabs Harry and Ron, and they disappear. But at the wedding, Harry meets he meets an old friend of Dumbledore's and Ron's auntie, someone or other who's a bit of a cow. And she's basically, there's this expose in the Daily Prophet. There's a section of Rita Skeeter's book that is an expose on Dumbledore, on the life of Dumbledore, and we start finding out that Dumbledore may not have been as good as Harry had been led to believe, and suddenly he's got all these doubts in his mind, and Ron's aunt is like, "Oh, you're acting like you didn't know him at all. I thought he was supposed to be your best friend," and all that sort of stuff. So suddenly he's left with all these doubts, and then poof, they fuck off to Shaftesbury Avenue,
And then there's
get
that
away
amazing
from
bit
his
in the
Death
cafe
Eaters.
where they're like, oh, bad
Yeah.
guys, not bad guys. Can we just talk for a second about what of a bit of a dick Dumbledore was? Like, really?
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely. I mean,
see, this is the thing that doesn't sit right? You understand him having to keep parts of the prophecy away to keep Harry safe, but you'd have to do it like a dick.
no. Yeah.
I know.
I
But
know. I
ultimately,
agree.
he didn't want Harry to know that he had to die until the point where Harry had to die and make that sort of, it's that Garden of Gethsemane sort of decision, isn't it? That is.
But there were
that
bits where I think he could have been a bit more open. Like, surely it would have finished a lot quicker if Dumbledore had just been like, all right, I'm just going to write it all down.
There's all these Horcruxes, right? And
you can't destroy them. This is what they're called. This is what they are. It's going to take you a while. Knock yourself out. Don't die. Thanks.
Take it easy on the Engorgio. That's what.
Don't go blind.
really, really addictive. It can get addictive, I'm telling you.
Oh
dear.
Excuse me. So they end up at Shaftesbury Avenue, which is
all still in their wedding clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then we find out Hermione's actually been keeping in her bag. She's put a spell on it, like a Mary Poppins spell. It's
I need that bag. Oh, that's
full of books,
if I could have
clothes,
anything,
everything they need in it.
Yeah, a 10. If I could have anything from the Harry Potter movies, it would be that bag. Yeah. I'm the 10 from
with the 10. Yeah.
I'm the 10.
It is the 10 from the fourth one. That is the one that we've got. She borrowed it from Mr. Weasley.
But I don't understand if the problem with the bag. I'm not a lady who carries a handbag, so I'm not entirely sure how it works. But if the problem is being able to locate your shit in the bottom of your messy handbag, how is that going to be improved by having an endless void of a handbag? Unless you can,
I'm assuming
some stuff.
Not Accio. That's what he has to do, because when Ron splints himself, when they fast travel and when they go to Privet Drive, when they go to Grimmauld Place, and then they have to splinches himself when they go to Grimmauld Place after going to the Ministry and realise that the guy from the Ministry has kind of caught hold of them, so they have to apparate again into the Forest of Dean. Harry has to Accio the oil of Dittany to repair Ron's gash.
That's the best word you can come up with. Oh dear. I mean, I think that regardless of the size of the handbag, if you had Accio, it'd make it dead easy anyway to find whatever it was,
Oh dear.
I think,
oh dear. Ron's gash.
So they're in the Forest of Dean.
No, they've gone to Grimmauld Place first of all, because it's Sirius's house and it's been left to Harry, and they're not sure whether any of the curses have been because Snape was a secret keeper. You weren't going to sneeze, Nat?
No, it's fine. It's gone.
Oh, I thought Snape was a secret keeper about Grimmauld Place, and so there was an extra kind of spell enchantment point to keep Snape out of there, and that's where they go and kind of meet Creature again, which is the house elf that he has inherited effectively in Sirius's
get a bit
will.
more plot exposition, find out a little bit about the next move they've got to make and how it
they're looking to find who RAB is, because that's in the locket. That's what they've left this locket, and they're looking to find out who RAB is. And they realise while they're searching the house that regular Saltarius Black is Sirius's cousin, and he was a Death Eater. And they find out that he had left sort of Voldemort's service and had sort of escaped from them, and he had actually gone and got the locket himself before Dumbledore had, which is gutting, because Dumbledore did Dumbledore have to die at that
and
point?
The awful scene where giving him
yeah, that's gross.
It's a terrible scene.
That's so mortifying that even in the Lego Harry Potter game where you've got to do that bit, it's really creepy.
Yeah, it's
like
horrible, isn't it?
armies of ghosts trying to drag you into the water. It's a bloody
Yeah.
Lego game. It's quite a hard little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've gone there, and that's where they find out that Regulus is RAB, that the locket they've got isn't the real locket. And they find out Creature starts talking about Master Regulus's locket. And
so at this point, how many Horcruxes have been destroyed? We've lost the diary, which was one.
We've lost the diary. We've lost Marvolo Gaunt's ring, which is why Dumbledore had the curse up his arm, which is why he's actually dying anyway.
Yeah.
So that's 2 Horcruxes that we've lost.
So at this point,
the locket's the 3rd.
Yeah, they've discovered the locket's the 3rd.
And they don't know any other Horcruxes. Yeah. They don't know
they've got a suspicion that it's something to do with the Gryffindor, the fucking Hogwarts founders.
Founders, exactly. Yeah,
that explains another 4, right? So you've got a couple of 4. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to. It's interesting for me trying to remember exactly what a Horcruxes are at this point, because I think
they become
remember the last 2 as well.
Because the whole idea is that Voldemort wanted to split his soul into 7 pieces because that's the most magical number. So that meant he had to create 6 Horcruxes because his soul in his body would be the 7th part. The 7th part.
I don't know if you remember this bit, but he actually had to fight Della Soul on that because they were saying 3 is the magic number. So he had to have
He probably just killed them.
Yeah. Killed them straight up.
I've got a list here of the Horcruxes.
Yes,
if we get lost.
I was going to guess them.
Oh, go on, guess them.
Locket.
So you're saying locket? Yeah.
Yeah. The book.
The diary.
The diary. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing Rich just mentioned. The bloody thing that you just mentioned. Marvolo's ring.
Marvolo Gaunt's
ring. The ring. Yeah.
Then you got Ravenclaw's diadem. The headpiece. Yeah. And then you got Harry.
Yeah.
Nagini, the snake.
Yeah.
She one.
Yeah, Nagini's one.
5. And the last 2
I got one more.
I've got one more to get.
I would have forgotten this one actually.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't remember what he said, but I'm going to imagine it's Helga Hufflepuff's cup.
Yeah, goblet.
That is goblet. Yeah.
It's not Ron's gash. It's Helga's.
No, yeah.
Helga's cup.
Helga's moon cup. Yes, so they're the Horcruxes, but they don't know at this point they're going to do, because that's why Ron's getting really despondent right from the start. Because it's suddenly, wait, you've been having all these lessons with pretty much what you said, Webby. You've been having all these lessons with Dumbledore, and he's not even told you what you got to do. I mean, what's going on?
He gets proper moody in this, Ron, doesn't he?
He does.
I mean, I know the locket is affecting them, but he's like a proper moody little shit in this.
But you know that bit in is it The Dark Knight or Batman Begins where Wayne Manor ends up on fire and all the wood's falling down. A big beam falls across Bruce Wayne's chest, and Michael Caine comes along. He says, "What's the point in doing all those bloody push-ups if you can't even lift a log?" It just reminds me of that. It's like, why are you doing all this if you can't even fucking do that? I think he's got a bit of an Alfred point there. I could kind of see. I mean, but he is all these second fiddle to Harry all these years, and I can understand the frustration.
Yeah, it all comes to a head. Harry's rich. Harry's good looking. Harry's like the one who lived.
Yeah. And he killed people with just not even thinking about it. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to remember that first book. He takes on
and all of that shit.
He takes on the Philosopher's Stone challenge pretty much. He uses Ron to win the chess match, and then he ends up going through the door on his own, doesn't he? He does everything from that point sort of on his own. So, But you know from Harry's point of view how isolating and lonely Harry feels being like this.
And how, not jealous, but how envious he is that Ron has this incredible family that Harry also really loves, and he doesn't think a bad word about a thing about it, but he's like, you got that, and he even says it, it's like, my parents are dead, you've got that, it's like, do you think I wanted all this attention?
It's all summed up, but the fact that Harry looks forward to his Christmas jumpers from the Weasleys, because that's like his idea.
Oh, my heart.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. Like, there's somebody would love him that much to include him in a family tradition, and the other kids don't even register it because
they're sick of it. Like that
they kind of resent those jumpers. Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's sweet. But yeah, you've got the benefit of seeing that Ron doesn't really mean it. They're both misunderstanding each other. He can't see the world through Harry's eyes. He's only ever going to be jealous. And every time he brings it up, Harry goes, "You're jealous? But everybody's trying to fucking kill me every 2 minutes."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He should have slept with Hermione just to teach Ron another lesson. If you're going to be like that, that's it. Because you know I could have her. I'm just going to have her. Sorry. I'm not even going to magic her and make her do it.
That was disturbing, Webby.
Sorry.
But it's where we find out that Mundungus Fletcher came and stole a load of Sirius's stuff, or Harry's stuff, from the house, and he also stole Regulus's locket. And Regulus had been trying to get Creature to. We're starting to find out lots of stuff about Creature here, and actually the relationship between wizards and house elves, and where Sirius really fucked up in the 5th one with the way that he treated Creature.
Yeah, which again shows that duality of characters where you love a character, but they're a bit of a prick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't fully back Sirius because he's horrible to elves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. You could never really get on his dad's James side because he was a bully.
Yeah,
You can't get on Dumbledore's side because
same
Dumbledore
with
turns out wasn't
And
great.
then it's the flip of all the bad guys as well. So you never know whether Snape is a baddie or a goodie, or whether Draco, you know what I mean? It's all that. I think that's quite cleverly played on with nearly a lot of characters.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really, really good. So we find out Mundungus has stolen Regulus's locket, or
Don't they
Voldemort's
send
locket.
the elf off to bring him to Grimmauld Place to answer to them?
So what they do, they send Creature to go and get Mundungus Fletcher, and when he comes back, he turns up with Dobby. And Dobby saw Creature like skulking around Nocturne Alley and decided to help. So you've got Mundungus like pinned by these 2 house elves who at this point are both kind of eager to please Harry because he is Creature's master and is Dobby's hero.
I wonder if in the elf world there's a common theme between Dobby and Creature and Ron and Harry. You know what I mean? Because Dobby just got freed. You know what I mean? Just didn't even fucking do much, and he got freed.
He's gets to wear whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's got to be the other guy stuck in an empty old house full of cobwebs and miserable ghosts, and you can't catch a break.
And screaming portraits, yeah.
Yeah.
But on the same token, though, we never really properly get to explore the female house elf who is fired. By Barty Crouch. Is it Winky? Yeah.
Winky, yeah.
Yeah, and see how like she's devastated. She's absolutely devastated, and Dobby's really so worried about her. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's trying to help her, and all the other house elves hate her because of it, and she's drinking. And...
Yeah, and she's like stuck. Yeah, literally. Yeah, no, she is.
Honestly,
she ends up at Hogwarts. Yeah, she ends up at Hogwarts, like, and she's absolutely bereft without her master, and he's desperately trying to get back to him and wants to be taken back on, and it's absolutely awful. So actually, you then end up with that awful, like, because Hermione's like, "Oh, free the house elves," but then you see that Winky didn't really want to be free. That's not what she wanted.
Exactly.
And, it's just.
But again,
literally, Dobby's the only house elf that wanted to be freed.
That's a really clever comment on social movements, isn't it? That you think you know what you want, and then when you finally get it, it's not all that. That whole spew thing didn't actually occur to her to check it out with the elves first and see what they wanted.
Yeah,
you know
where they're going to live.
Yeah,
where they're going to live.
Where they're going to live.
Yeah.
You know. And now you've got rid of all your household elves. You've got to do the washing up, love. You know what I mean? You've got to wash them. Smelly socks and stuff. So so Mundungus tells them that Dolores Umbridge took the locket from him when he was just selling stuff, and her picture was in the paper, and so they realize that they've got to go to the Ministry of Magic to try and get this locket. So they take Polyjuice Potion and they knock out a couple of wizards outside the ministry, and they go in. Not just wizards. They are slightly famous bit part actors from other things you've seen. So you got the guy, one of the guys in Knockout is from Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, is he? I
Yeah,
never
Oh,
watched
and
is
the
he?
lady, the lady. Then I think he's Dave Coaches, isn't he?
I
think
don't know.
so. I think so. Yeah, you got like people you see in the background of things like Happy Valley and stuff like that. They're the three people in Knockout are almost famous actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of them's a bad guy, and then there's these two other people. They go to Ministry of Magic, and there's this whole kind of like chase sequence type thing that goes on in there. Harry goes to Dolores Umbridge's office, where he sees Mad-Eye Moody's eye on her door. So he takes that and he goes in and can't find the locket in there, but finds that they're pictures of him, Hermione, and Ron, and they're called Deplorable number 1, 2, and 3, I think it is. And that they're like basically the most wanted people in the magical world at this moment in time. You can see that the ministry's turned and all the wrong people are in charge. Ron's had to go and fix a leak in somebody's office. And Hermione has ended up inadvertently undesirable.
Undesirable.
Yeah.
What did I call them?
Deplorable.
Deplorable.
Deplorables. Oh no, that's what.
It's pretty cool. That.
Yeah,
do you know what else as well? Don't he have to fix his relationship
said,
with the guy he's taking over as Mrs.
Yeah. He ends up. Yeah, so basically, what Hermione ends up being Dolores Umbridge's secretary or something like that in her Polyjuice disguise, and ends up having to go down into the courtrooms which Harry had earlier been to himself in the 5th book. And it's basically where they are testing people's, or in a very crooked way, where their magical purity. So this is a Muggle who ended up becoming magical without having wizarding parents. So they're asking her who did she steal her wand from and things like that. And Harry ends up going down there and he's just like, yeah, sod this is horrible. And he stupefies the shit out of everyone, steals the locket, and takes this woman who's about to be charged and about to be sort of executed, takes her as well. And all of these Dementors come streaming after them, and Expecto Patronums them, and they end up in the main foyer of the in the atrium of the Ministry of Magic, and they end up sort of doing a runner, and that's where that guy grabs the leg. They end up splinching Ron, and then that's where they end up in the Forest of Dean. And that's where their relationship starts to deteriorate.
Probably one of the bleakest moments in the films. Change of feel and change of theme once they're in the forest and they're alone.
Yeah,
and there's all there's the hunting. I can't remember what they are. They're not Death Eaters, are they? But the Dark Wizards who are hunting them. Snatchers. Yeah. And they almost catch him, but she fucks up his face with the bruising spell. So you can't really tell who he is.
It's the point where everything's really laid bare for either the reader or the watcher, isn't it? Everybody who's in charge is wrong. They've literally got no friends anymore. The friends that they do have, people that are scattered about that we still don't know about yet, like the Weasleys, like Luna Lovegood and her father, people like that. We don't know what's happened to them. We don't know if they're all right. They're essentially literally on their own, and the person that could have helped them died without being very useful. And
which is why everyone's so angry.
Yeah, and it is every classic good guy story, good person story, isn't it? That they get to their very lowest, bleakest moment before it all starts to turn around. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant how they build you to that point, I think. Because it becomes hard to watch almost.
It does. And also at that point, Ron's really the only one who's got anything personal really to lose, because Hermione had put the memory jinx spell on her parents, that they forgot that she had a daughter, that they had a daughter, and Harry doesn't have family. So it's I mean, he cares about the Weasleys, obviously, but at this point, Ron's like, I'm the only person who's got it. That's why I'm listening to this radio of magical broadcast, so I can try and listen, see if my family's names are read out in the list of people who've been killed. It's really bad. And also, like I said, the Horcrux around their neck is really like darkening the mood.
Sucking the joy out of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ron ends up disappearing. Harry and Hermione go off
Well,
yeah,
it does
he
one because
one.
he's convinced, because the Horcrux is making him so twisted inside, he's convinced that Harry's shagging Hermione behind his back. And then he catches them dancing, which again didn't happen in the book, but we see it in the movie, and it's a bit weird. And
he doesn't see them dancing in the film. That's after he's gone.
Okay,
no,
but he feels
He
it. He knows
sees them
something's
discussing. Well, he's pretty useless at this point because he's recovering from being from his gash. Yeah.
But yeah,
so
he's highly
feeling pretty
suspicious
useless.
of something. He walks in that room and he could smell that dancing has happened, and it wasn't
those
clean.
hormones flying around.
Exactly.
Maybe a bit dirty dancing. I don't know. So
grinding.
The jealousy is strong. The jealousy. And then Harry takes off and decides to try and sort the locket out, doesn't he?
So no, they decide that the place that they need to go to is where he was born. It's
what's the place called?
It's what's the
little village?
Godric Hollow.
There you go.
Godric Hollow, which is where Harry's family, his parents lived. It's where they were killed. It's where they're buried.
A lot of witches and wizards live, isn't it? It's like a like a Hogwarts kind of town.
But it's also where Bathilda Bagshot lives, who's the lady that was interviewed for Rita Skeeter's big expose book. And so it's where Harry wants to go to be able to find out more information.
So they're having a peek around the graveyard, checking out some graves, reading some stuff, and then Bathilda. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby, how you doing, man? Don't need to apologise.
Never apologise, Bobby.
We love you, Bobby. Thanks for coming along and joining the chat.
Is it Bathilda Bagshot that shows up in the graveyard and sort of winks at him, says, "Come this way, follow me."
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm not a snake.
Yeah, exactly.
I am so trustworthy.
Yeah.
So they go back to her house. She turns into Nagini and tries to eat Harry. In the book, it's completely different because in the book, Nagini calls for Voldemort, and he comes along. So you see him flying around the world, making sure, just trying to find the Elder Wand. He's trying to find different people. He's interviewing and talking to various people we see, and as you do when you're the bad guy. And so Nagini gets hold of Harry, Voldemort's coming, and then it's like a race for time. Hermione's trying to fight off Nagini as well, and she manages to disapparate just as Voldemort comes in through the window. But in the books, it's completely different. It's just as Nagini's about to strike, that happens.
I could not put the book down at that point. I was like,
no, I know, it's insane, wasn't it?
No, yeah.
Absolutely insane. And then Harry's wand's broken. And it's the one thing we know that he's got over everybody is this wand. And it's broken and he doesn't know what to do. And he's just really fucked off. And Hermione feels really guilty, even though it's not her fault.
And isn't he like, Hermione, come on, we got a spell for specifically fixing glasses, but nobody fucking thought of a wand fixing spell.
Fixing wand? I mean, what kind of world is this?
Try Wando Reparo. Yeah, try that.
Oh, sod it. Engorgio.
Yes. Always makes everything better. So we're actually quite near the end of the first part of the movies, aren't we? Because
we're getting there.
Because we end up on Massam Cliffs, don't we? They end up on Massam
Cliffs.
And
he's
casting filming down in Massam, beautiful part of the country. If you've never been there, audience, get yourselves down to Massam. It's beautiful.
And Harry sees a golden doe. Hermione's in bed. He's keeping watch. She's got her wand, and he sees a doe. And he follows this doe. And he thinks it's his dad's Patronus again. He's like, "What the hell is this?" And then he sees the sword of Gryffindor in a pool. And so he goes in a pond. In a pond. In
a very fucking conveniently deep pond.
Right, exactly. Yeah. More like a lake, and he sees Sword of Gryffindor. He tries to go and get it, and the Horcrux around his neck drags him under, and starts drowning. And suddenly, and it's the end of that chapter. This hand comes in and drags him out, and you're like, "Who the fuck has saved him?" And it's Ron. Ron's come back.
Got over himself. Got spliced.
Yeah.
Got unspliced.
Yeah.
That's it.
Got away from the locket. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that. I do like that bit where Hermione's like, "Take the fucking locket off." Jesus, guys, come on. I know we're teenagers, but you've been way overly moody. I think it might be the poisonous locket.
It's not rocket science. We all read Lord of the Rings.
Rocket science. So at this point, Harry forces Ron to destroy the Horcrux.
Yeah,
it's his turn to destroy a Horcrux,
which has a pretty it's a pretty badass reaction, isn't it? Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh, it's that whole like stuff.
Haven't we forgotten a bit? Like, as is it when he hits the locket that he sees the vision of smoke where there's a naked Hermione and
his mum is saying, "I never wanted you. I've always preferred Harry," and all Ron's insecurities just coming to the surface. And then the Horcrux is broken, and they go back to Hermione, stabs it dead, and then they go back to Hermione, and like Ron's got a couple of wands. He met some snatchers that he jinxed, so Harry gets a wand, and suddenly they're all a little bit more buoyed, aren't they, with what they need to do?
That Horcrux situation was affecting them way more than they realised. Bit like the Ring of Power in Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Exactly.
At least the Ring of Power made you go invisible. At least it had a cool thing. Put the locket on, you didn't go invisible. Just felt shit. I
mean, I don't know though, because if you think about it, a totally different franchise. We've distracted ourselves, but he has the ring that long that it turns him from a hobbit into a little golem thing, you know?
Similar, very similar. Dark magic. Dark magical item.
If they'd have kept on wearing the Horcrux, they probably would have gone a bit twisty.
How did they get from that scene? How did they get from there then to going to Malfoy Manor? Oh, they get. Oh yeah, no, that's right. They literally just get caught, don't they? By
they get caught. Grabbed by the group.
Put the boils all over his face, but that's
right. And he pretends to be thingy Vernon Dudley.
Yeah. And they throw him in the cellar of Malfoy Manor while Hermione's being tortured upstairs.
Yeah, the Canary being tortured, And
downstairs they find Luna, they find
all the people conveniently
Ollivander
out of the situation.
Ollivander, the one maker, Luna, and they find Griphook as well.
Griphook and Dobby?
No, they call for Dobby because Dobby's the person that they get. See, this is where it's really bad. So they call for Dobby to come and basically save them. Dobby comes, he apparates, and he saves Luna, Ollivander, and Griphook. And then he comes back as there's a big old fight going upstairs between Harry, Lucius Malfoy, and Bellatrix Lestrange, and Peter Pettigrew as well.
Yeah, because Harry and Ron have to get upstairs to save Hermione, don't they? Because the Canary being tortured. Yeah,
and they need a couple of wands.
Yes, Bobby. Yes,
we are the perfect accompaniment show for your reading of Harry Potter.
Yeah, well done,
Bobby. I mean, watch the films, but watch them with caution because not a patch on the books.
No, they're great though. They are really good, but they get better. The first few aren't as good.
Kind of diet Harry Potter, aren't they? They're easy to watch, and they get better as they go on. I think by the end,
they do. Yeah, the end ones are great.
I mean, pretty much just as good as the last two books or the last couple of movies. Pretty much. Maybe not. All right, I'll try to be nice now.
Big old fight.
All fisticuffs.
Yeah. And this is an important bit. Harry disarms Draco. It's quite an important kind of thing for the end of the but also Dobby manages to he rescues them. He manages to disarm Bellatrix.
He cuts down the chandelier, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. In the film, he does. I can't remember what he does in the.
He's just pissing around and like annoying everybody, and it really works.
And so we lose Dobby. So they disapparate, and Bellatrix throws a knife, and then that's where. And this is so sad. And this is where we come to the end of the first film. It's where we work on the beach, and there is Dobby with a knife in his chest, and The books are way
So-
better, Bobby. Way,
Definitely,
way
Bobby.
better.
Definitely.
I read a lot,
yeah.
Bobby, and I will never stick up for I don't think I've ever stuck up for a film over a book.
No.
No.
But also, we've also forgotten the fact that in the books, you've got this scene with Lupin, him and Tonks are now having a baby. But Lupin in the books has come to, when they were back in Grimmauld Place, offered his services again, another adult offering his services. And Harry's like, I'm afraid, in the films, he's like, no, I'm afraid you can't, because Dumbledore didn't tell you we're on the secret. But in the books, they actually have almost a physical fight, because Harry calls him a coward because he realizes he's trying to run away from the fact that he's got a baby and a partner, and he's trying to run away from the fact that he's worried that the baby is going to turn out to be a werewolf as
Shouldn't
well.
have fucked with him, Lupin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You impregnated that lady. You got stick by her.
Exactly.
You know
The
what I
now
mean?
is not
I
cool,
know.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, is it?
Yeah.
No, I'll go to war. It's fine. You'd rather go to war. It's just a baby, dude.
It's an happy furry baby. I mean, what's wrong with that?
And if your baby's
so-
hair could change colour as well, that'd be awesome.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. If you could have had any of the powers that are in that book, I definitely want Tonks's.
Yeah.
Tonks is
I mean,
great.
I'd love to be able to just change my hair at will. That'd be
Mm.
great. Yeah.
So they've ended up at Bill and Fleur's place out on the seaside.
Oh, it's lovely.
And this is where we start the second film. Harry buries Dobby by hand, which impresses Griphook. There's obviously this, oh mate, yeah, absolutely, just still floods of tears all the time. I cannot watch or listen to the audiobook bit of that. I
It's
find
the
that so
second hardest.
difficult.
After Hedwig, it's the second hardest definitely.
I don't know. I find it really. I think it might be the hardest for me.
Oh yeah.
Dobby's, yeah, I really struggle.
Again,
with
it
Dobby
doesn't
one.
do it for me in the movies because
He's so pure. He's so
yeah,
pure.
but he's so
full of
massively
love.
underused in the books. In the films,
In
we
the
haven't
films, we
fucking
haven't
five
seen him
films.
since the second. Yeah, exactly.
So-
Yeah.
And the books, he's all the way through, and each
Yeah,
time
he
you
is.
see him, he's got another bit of clothing, and he's like, "What you
Yeah.
doing? Oh, I like your hat, Dobby." You know, it's great. It's
Yeah.
really
It's cute.
nice.
It's cute
He's
as
kind of
fuck.
accessorizing himself as the story goes
The
on.
bit, my probably my favourite bits from all of the books are when you discover that all of the clothes that Hermione's been making for months and months and months are all on Dobby. He's
Yeah.
literally
He's
just gone
stealing
round.
them. Yeah,
He's got all the socks, the hats, everything. He's just like,
And that's
and he
actually a
thinks-
bit of a cunty trick on Hermione's part, because households didn't want to be freed, and she was hiding them under newspapers so that they'd accidentally pick them up and things like that. It was
It's again against their will. I mean, with the exception of Dobby, who definitely did want to be freed, and
Yeah.
I'm glad was freed because he was
Yeah.
a slave to the Malfoys, which is
an awful
fucking
family.
horrible.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Magic. I haven't read Magic Kingdom. I don't know if either of you.
Oh,
I
I'm going to put that on my list.
Ooh.
Magic
Kingdom
for sale.
I don't.
Thanks
I've
for
got
the
a massive
recommendation, Bobby.
stack of books to catch up. Bobby, by the way, as we were saying about the films, no substitute for the books, but they are watchable. They are enjoyable. Even my cynical old ass is saying that they're not all amazing. From the third film on, they're pretty great. But yeah, no
on my
substitute
list.
for the books.
I mean, the thing, if you feel like you can handle excitement like this, Bobby? Then you're in for a treat.
I love the fact that they've used a bit of animation. What's it called? Effects to make
Animatronic.
Egg animatronic. Thank you.
His eyes go bigger.
Yeah, but it's literally more expression than Ron shows for the first two fucking films.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
I mean, Bobby, stick with the films because by like Goblet of Fire
Three,
onwards, they're getting good.
third one.
Oh no, the
Yeah,
third one's good.
third
Yeah,
one's
the
awesome.
third film's good.
Fan's awesome because
Yeah,
you got Gary Oldman in it, and suddenly the caliber of other actors starts
Yeah,
to
it steps
up.
overshadow.
Yeah.
Because not only Gary Oldman, you've not just got Gary Oldman, you've got fucking Lupin,
David Hewlett.
David Thewlis as well. I mean, two awesome actors in that
And
same film.
introduce the Dementors and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Great.
it's brilliant. It's
But
brilliant. I like the third
Dobby, Ron Weasley literally pulls that face that Rich puts up for the entire duration of the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
Every
Film
time
one,
you see his fucking face.
Film
Film
two.
two. Yeah.
Film two close up.
Yeah.
Spiders, whenever he talks about a spider.
Spiders.
Yeah.
I can't even hear the word spider without.
So anyway, they are up in the floors and they decide to. So Harry goes for a meeting with Ollivander, and he realizes he's been having these visions as everything's been going on, and he's seeing that Voldemort is going on. He's trying to find something.
Well, he believes that there's a Horcrux in the bank, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's
Have
one of
they
the
been and found out about They found out about the Deathly Hallows at this point, haven't they? As well.
Well, yeah.
They've been to Luna Lovegoods. Now that bit is beautiful. That bit of animation.
Where, you see her dad have to.
But you've got this whole story as well from, and it's lovely, just all the way through. The animation in it is really
in the middle of your movie.
It is, yeah, exactly. It's really lovely. It's told really well. It's great.
Yeah.
Great story.
It's,
I mean, I don't know how this story is so famous and yet nobody's figured out that these three things from these three wizards go together to make the. Do you know what I mean? It's just such a little bit
because that's why, and that is why they go to see Luna's Xenophilius Lovegood, because they noticed that he had the symbol, and they saw that symbol on a gravestone in Godric's Hollow, on the Perival gravestone, and Harry's starting to kind of go,
all coming together.
And the fact that Dumbledore definitely knew all this before he died and didn't tell anyone. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another thing that annoys me.
Yeah.
By the way, this invisibility cloak that you've had for the last 7 years,
that I definitely gave you in secret. Can we just say?
Yeah. That was your. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you'd get that, wouldn't you? And go, wow, this is amazing. An invisibility cloak. Can everybody have one? Oh no, they only made one. What? They only made one?
No, they didn't. They made loads. Ever? They made loads, but they normally ran out. Their magic ran out. Whereas this one had lasted for 7 years, and it's basically like Scabbers. Like rats died quite soon, but Scabbers was alive for 7 years.
You could literally have a pile of invisibility cloaks in the corner of your bedroom, but if they're invisible,
exactly.
Just keep losing them.
So they. He ends up speaking to Griphook as well. They realise that there is some. They know that the Sword of Gryffindor, because they've got the Sword of Gryffindor with them. They know that there was a fake one, and that Snape. But somebody got really angry about the fact that there was a fake Sword of Gryffindor in Bellatrix Lestrange's bank, which meant that there might have been something else in there. So they ended up. I'm not sure how. I can't remember in the films how they realised that it was Hilda Hufflepuff's cup.
I can't remember either.
It was one of the Horcruxes
in the film.
I can't remember how they realised that. In the books, it's because Harry had been seeing visions in the pensieve of Voldemort when he was working for Thingy and Burke's in Nocturne Alley, and he was going and he was basically seeing all these old women and charming them and killing them and stealing their prized possessions and turning them into Horcruxes. And that's how we found out in the books that it was the cup.
He's a wrong one, isn't he?
Oh, he's a bad one. Oh.
So, okay. So
they need to break into Gringotts, basically, and they strike a deal with Griphook that he can have the Sword of Gryffindor.
But surprisingly, it's probably in the vault behind the giant blind dragon.
Exactly that,
Probably in there.
I love the dragon bit. I love this bit. It's fantastic.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I hate the bits where the dragon's getting beaten, and I love the bits where the dragon just
fucking flies in the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And
but they've got to get into Bellatrix's vault, and when they do, they go to touch the goblet, the cup,
and everything multiplies and becomes red hot, and they get burned. Yeah, it's really clever.
They almost drown in like brass cups, don't they? It's
and Griphook ends up getting the Sword of Gryffindor. They end up getting Hufflepuff's cup, and escaping on the back of the dragon. And it's at that point they're like, right, we need to go to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
We need
And
to go
have
to
a walk.
Hogwarts.
Well,
We
they
need
know
to go-
that
we-
Hogwarts
we
has
need
been
to-
breached.
Yeah, well, they know that shit's about to hit the fan there soon, but it only hits the fan because Harry's there. They decide they need to go to Hogwarts because they realise that there's something else that is going to be the sixth Horcrux there, and so they go there or the fifth Horcrux, and so they go there to try and find that. And that's great because they end
But
up
hasn't
in.
Umbridge taken over Hogwarts as the headmaster and is employing various
That was in the
nefarious...
fifth one. Snape's
Yeah,
the
but they're
headmaster
still
in
there.
this.
Oh yeah.
No,
okay.
she's gone. She's working for the Ministry of Magic. Snape's the headmaster, and he's put in the what are their names? A brother and
Bloody
sister.
teachers.
They're horrible. Yeah.
One of them is played by Ralph
Fiennes.
Innes.
Oh yeah,
Um,
shit.
from
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Office.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know what you mean. Yeah. Innocent.
Innes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they end up getting to, and that's where they meet Dumbledore's brother, and this is where we find out all about in the books. We find all about Ariana, which we don't find anything out at all in the.
Is that his sister?
Yeah,
Dumbledore had a sister as well as a brother. Is
Yeah,
that right?
exactly. And the secret entrance into Hogwarts was behind the portrait of her in the pub, in the Hogshead pub, which was owned by Dumbledore's brother. And that's when we realised that the eye that Harry had been seeing in the fragment of mirror that he thought was Dumbledore's eye had been exactly.
Yeah.
Aberforth Dumbledore.
Aberforth, yeah.
His name.
I mean, it's an interesting character, isn't he? Because he's kind of like almost cool, but he's like he's nowhere near as successful as his older brother.
He's got a reputation of being a goat fucker. That's the other thing.
Has he?
There's a rumor, in the books, he's got. There's a rumor that's gone around about him having a relationship with goats, and his what do you call it? His Patronus. Is a goat. And basically there's all these rumors about, you get a real distinct impression
so many goats that his Patronus turned into a goat.
Oh crikey.
What is that?
Wowzers, Bobby. That's
on,
some
Bobby.
Good work.
Come on, Bobby.
Go for it, Bobby.
Remember the first two films. Just get to the end. Just get past them. And then you'll be fine.
But yeah, get yourself the Blu-rays or the HD versions as well, because I think they were filmed quite nicely. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to reconfigure myself.
You reconfigure as much as you want, my love.
So they end up going through the secret passage into Hogwarts, where they find the room requirements has basically been turned into a dormitory for everybody that isn't a dick.
Can I just say, one of my absolute favourite moments, I know I've had a lot of them, is around this portrait when people are coming through, and Neville's grandma comes through, and she's like, "Where is my grandson?" And they're like, "He's fighting. He's like literally like balls deep in bad guys." And she's like, "Well, of course he is. Where else would he be?" And you realise that she always knew that he was this amazing, strong Gryffindor, and he's been terrified of her, but she was like, "Yeah, of course he is. I wouldn't expect him to be anywhere else." I genuinely cried.
He's terrified of her because he's terrified of letting her down, isn't he? He's terrified.
Of course, because his parents were so strong in their memory, before they got sort of
murdered.
Bellatrixed.
Well, they weren't murdered, were they? They were
went mad.
Oh driven insane by the Crucio.
Or
one of them.
Tortured to death, tortured to insanity.
And
that's where Harry has a meeting with some of the teachers and all the kids, and it's basically like, I'm here to find something, but I don't know what it is, but I think it's got something to do in this massive castle, an object. And that's when Luna's like, "Oh yeah, it could be her lost diadem of Rowena Ravenclaw." And he's like, "So what was the diadem?"
Thank God I came here.
In fact, it's that thing that you saw in the rumor requirements when you were hiding something, a couple of books ago. Funnily enough,
fucking weird.
And then that's where we have the Battle of Hogwarts. And
Which
I
is
mean, that's
pretty
kind of
cool, man.
The
it's
amazing
great,
bit with
great.
McGonagall waking up the
Where
castle.
she brings. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do that spell. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it. I love it. And
There's some cool bits in it. Who are the dudes that are protecting the bridge as well? Is it Neville and somebody else protecting the bridge on the
It's
way
Neville
in?
and Seamus, because Seamus got this reputation for blowing things up by mistake.
Yeah,
So
there's
that's
loads
not in
of
the
little.
book, that bit.
There's loads of little partnerships that are made up in that battle that you wouldn't usually expect. You know what I mean? And they all go off and have their individual battles, don't they? But
the cool thing is, because they've got no way of destroying the Horcrux, it's where Ron and Hermione. Ron has this idea that actually the Chamber of Secrets, you've got the Basilisk fangs, and that destroyed Tom Riddle's diary. And that is why the Sword of Gryffindor is able to destroy Horcruxes, because it got the venom on it, and it takes in only that makes it stronger. So that's why Hermione's like, I can't believe you had this idea, and it's like, it's so clever. It's like, always Tony's surprised.
Can I just say, all the way through the show tonight, I marvel at the fact that you keep calling it Gryffindor. Because
I've been thinking that.
Gryffindor.
I mean, if you were in a house, would you say? Are you saying Sword of Gryffindor like it's a different thing, or do you call it Gryffindor, his house?
No, it's Gryffindor. It is Gryffindor, but I think just because weird. Yeah. I know it's Gryffindor.
Same thing.
Gryffindor.
What houses are you in, by
it's
the way?
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Oh, you know what house I'm in. I'm in Gryffindor. I wouldn't really want to be.
You Gryffindor? Yeah, me too. Yeah.
In fact, no, I'm not. One or the other. I'm either going to go full on goody or full on baddie. If I'm
Have you done
There's
the Pottermore
no way that
sorting?
you would be a Slytherin. Yeah.
Nah, you're not a Slytherin.
No, I don't think
the only place to get sorted is on Pottermore. It's the only official place to get sorted.
I think I've done that. I think when it opened, we did that. But I'm curious about Slytherin, because if it wasn't for the school rules being in the way, then they get to play around with these unforgivable curses. When I was reading the books, in my mind, I was so in the zone with the books. I was so swept up in the story that I didn't even pay much attention to the unforgivable curses. It was like reading them too much and remembering what they are was going to manifest them. Do you know what I mean? I just tried not to pay attention too much in case I accidentally fucking.
You are not a Slytherin. You are not.
No, exactly. Just that thought process alone.
So that was almost Hufflepuff.
The intelligent ones, Bobby. Yeah. The intelligent.
Bobby, I'd love to be in Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, but then I wouldn't be in the fucking books or the films. So I want to be in it.
If I were a Ravenclaw, I'd never get into the common room, because you can't get into the common room in Ravenclaw without answering the riddle.
Riddle, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be asleep in the corridor. I can't do riddles.
Oh, jeez.
I'd just be the meat-edge block Gryffindor.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You do Tom Riddle. So yeah, and kind of everything goes down in the Battle of Hogwarts. It's so Ron and Hermione go and destroy the cup.
Who do we lose? We lose Fred or George, don't we? In this?
Right. Okay. Do you want me? I mean, I was going to do the deaths at the end of the show. We're nearly at the end.
We must be near the end. I mean, I don't.
We are. So basically, we lose Snape. This is where we find out that Snape was in love with Lily, and that is actually the line that we find that J.K. Rowling told Alan Rickman was, "It's the eyes and your relationship with Lily, that you're in love with Lily. That's the secret," and that's kind of how he knew what his arc was all the way through filming, which he used to his advantage a lot. And so we lose Snape at that point.
Very violently. That is a
really violent. It's horrific.
And you don't even see it.
What happens?
He gets cursed. Nagini just.
It's like you just see it through the window, so you see Harry's point of view through the glass, and all you hear is him being slammed against the glass every time Nagini bites him.
Yeah, in the boathouse, isn't it?
Yeah. Every time she strikes,
Harry gets Snape's tear, and he goes, puts it in the pensieve, and that's where he finds out.
Oh, it's horrible.
And he finds out
he's a Horcrux.
Yeah, his parents were not particularly nice to Snape.
No, exactly.
His dad
And
was a
or
bit of a
his
dick.
dad
Yeah.
in particular.
I mean, when I read that, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm on Snape's side, man. He's not the fucking victim here. He's been bullied, and that's what's turned him.
He's a victim
psychopathic.
of society,
Yeah.
Snape is. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we find out that Snape's actually been the good guy all along, and that this is where
And
Harry
the bravest
finds
person
out,
in the book.
and the bravest person in the book is where we find out Harry has to go and sacrifice himself because he is a Horcrux. So he goes down, out, and all the time Voldemort's giving these messages, sort of going, "Oh, Harry Potter, all these people have died because of you, and if you give up Harry Potter, then we'll save your lives. Don't want to kill pureblood wizards and all this sort of stuff." And
So
it calls a ceasefire, and he basically says, "If you're here by this time, then that's fine. I'll just kill you and leave everybody alone." So that's what Harry does.
So this is his Jesus moment where he accepts his
It's
fate.
the Garden of
realizes he has
Gethsemane.
to
Yeah,
die.
yeah.
But of course, as we all know, if you accept your fate and just die, you'll be brought back. It's not really going to happen.
Yeah,
So
we're
we
going to
know
meet
that,
Dumbledore at King's Cross Station.
Yeah, weird baby Voldemort under the
Weird
bench.
baby under your bench.
You have a little
abandoned.
weird dream together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you engorgio each other. And and then Harry's given the choice, to come back or to stay. He comes back and he's lying on the floor, and Mrs. Malfoy is.
Oh, I love that bit.
He's been to find the diadem, by the way, in the room of requirements. Crabbe or Goyle did the Hellfire spell, and they threw the diadem in there, which killed the
other
Horcrux.
Killed. At this point, basically, we've got two left, right? We've got Nagini and Harry.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we think Nagini is the last one. We don't realize Harry is until he goes into and looks in the pensieve, and that's the point we find out that Harry is the 7th Horcrux, is an accidental Horcrux.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
So Mrs. Malfoy comes to check to make sure Harry's dead. She sees he's alive.
She lies.
And she says, is Draco alive? And he's like, yeah. So she turns around and says, he's dead. And it's that point you know that she's actually on Harry's side at that point. This has all gone too far. And Hagrid carries them all back. There's a load of humiliation.
That incredible bit where they stood on either side and Neville comes forward and is like, nah, mate, I'm still going to fight you. You're going to have to kill me. Screw you. And you're like, oh, Nev. Good long bottom so hard.
Big
lovable doofus.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the cool thing in the books that you don't really get that you don't get as much of an impression of in the films is at this point, like they're defeated. They're done for. But at this point, when Harry suddenly jumps up and starts to fight Voldemort, Neville kills Nagini.
Oh, the sword of Gryffindor straight out of that hat.
That's right, because the hat appears.
Yeah.
Yes. He's got the sword hat.
Voldemort's pulling it over his
fire.
Yeah. He's pulled it over his head to embarrass him. And he puts his hand in, pulls out the sword of Gryffindor, exactly as Harry. Yeah,
have a bit of that.
Nagini.
You snaky
Nagini.
And at that point, all the centaurs from the forest, from the forbidden forest, come charging up. All the inhabitants of Hogsmeade, they start charging up to the school. All of the parents of the kids that have stayed behind to fight, they all start apparating in Hogsmeade, and they all start coming up. And suddenly the fight is back on, and all of these Death Eaters just start to disappear. The Malfoys, they do a runner with Draco. They're just like, we're out of here. And we're left with the hardest, sort of most hardened dark Death Eaters and Voldemort. And Harry and Voldemort have this big fight, and it's great how they tease it out of why Voldemort hasn't been able to.
It is, but let's just refresh the audience.
Neville is the hero, Bobby.
We agree, Bobby.
Yes, he is.
Team Neville all the way.
Can you go back to your list of, unfortunately, who we lost in this battle? I know we've lost. Well, you tell us.
Okay, right. So I'm gonna do.
Can we just before we go to the death list, acknowledge Mrs. Weasley killing Bellatrix?
Yeah,
Yes.
using the line from
my
Alien as
incredible.
well.
Bitch.
Uses
Yeah,
the line
Oh.
from Alien. Come on, she
Yeah.
quotes
Just-
Sigourney fucking Weaver. Go for it. It's
I
brilliant.
know,
Not
unbelievable.
my
This
daughter, you
amazing.
bitch.
Yeah.
maternal,
Is that what she says?
yeah,
Hang on,
yeah.
what's Molly Weasley's line?
Not my daughter, you bitch.
It's
Because
really similar.
Bellatrix is after
Okay,
Ginny.
didn't
Very,
realise
very
that.
similar. So at the
I
end
didn't
of
realise that.
at the end of Aliens, when Sigourney Weaver, spoiler alert, finally makes it
Yeah.
out from the alien-infested planet, and she's on the ship, but the fucking Queen Alien accidentally climbed onto it, and it appears at the last minute for a showdown. She gets in a power loader, this like robot machine, to save the kid that she's rescued from this planet, who she's adopted daughter. And she just goes up to the big Queen Alien and goes, "Get away
Get
from
away
her,
from her, you bitch."
And she starts slapping the fucking
It's so
alien.
good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
God, it's
I
been
did,
such a long time
so they
since
took
I've seen
that line.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
that's
Yeah.
fucking great, man.
Yeah.
And like this like maternal, this
Yeah.
woman who's so maternal, she's practically a breast.
Housewife.
Who wears
She's like your
cardigans
stereotypical mum housewife.
and knits jumpers. Is suddenly
Yeah,
Yeah,
cooks,
it's a
cleans.
known
you
fact
know.
that
kicks Bellatrix's ass. Oh,
Yeah,
no matter what
it's beautiful.
item of clothing Molly Weasley puts on, it turns into a cardigan. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
yeah.
Now, in the books, she actually performs one of the unforgivable curses. I think it's Avada Kedavra on her. But in the film, she petrifies her and then explodes her, which I kind of like. It's kind of cool.
I think that's a smarter way. So the smart good wizards who still want to kill people occasionally when they're dealing with a really bad person, have just found a loophole. So it's a mildly forgivable curse or something. I don't know. Only the unforgivable ones.
As long as you clean up.
Yeah.
All right, sweep them up and I'll let you off.
Send in the elves. Little dustpans.
But just quickly, so that's kind of the end. Harry's killed Voldemort in that way that he really reveals all the reasons why Voldemort has failed at every step of the way. Because he's like, oh, is it the love thing? And he's like, well, yeah, it is partly that, but it's also because this. You think Snape killed Dumbledore, but he didn't. It was Draco that disarmed Dumbledore. I disarmed Draco. So that wand is mine, motherfucker. Boom. And it just, and yeah, the wands lock and Voldemort dies. And at this point, it's where the books and the film are different, because in the book, Harry uses the Elder Wand to repair his wand, and then he snaps it and throws it away. Whereas in the film, he doesn't. He just snaps it and throws it away. But he actually repairs his own wand with it.
And I'll tell you a bit we forgot that I really love as well. The end of the 7th movie, the first part of Deathly Hallows, we see Dumbledore. No, we don't. We see Voldemort finding Dumbledore's grave, cracking it open, stealing the fucking wand, and it ends with
again. That's another thing where I think they're going to be kicking themselves with the Crimes of Grindelwald film, with the Grindelwald Fantastic Beasts films, because in the books, Grindelwald, that's his redemption story for the person that he loved and his former best friend. He doesn't give it away at all. He doesn't give away that that's where the Elder Wand is, whereas in the films, he literally tells him where it is, how to get it, and to desecrate Dumbledore's grave. So I think it's really weird.
Yeah, but I think you're also forgetting that nobody gives a fuck about these Fantastic Beasts films. Even the Potter fans don't care, so it doesn't matter.
No, it's true. That's true.
Know, they literally
let's do a roundup.
Replaced fucking Johnny Depp, and nobody's
let's
even
do a roundup
cares.
Most of the deaths as we're talking about.
Yeah, let's do the death list.
So in memoriam,
not that one
Hedwig.
Hedwig,
so
Angel.
we have Hedwig. I mean, do you want me to go in order, or can I just go in the order of pictures that I've got?
Go in the order.
Just go in the order of pictures if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We have Dobby. Sorry, we have Dobby. We
I
have.
just found out that
Dobby.
Toby Jones voiced Dobby. A great British actor. Toby Jones is the voice of Dobby. I'm surprised he's not actually in these movies as a fucking actor, because he's amazing.
We lose Tonks.
Tonks.
Lovely Tonks.
We
Has she had the kid at this point, then, dude?
She has, yeah.
Yeah, she has.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
because
The
makes
he
whole
ends
point
up
is that.
going to the grandparents, and Harry ends up being their godfather.
Yeah,
His
the whole point is
godfather.
that Teddy ends up being an orphan like Harry was.
Eddie,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Somebody I seem to remember sticking out a little bit more noticeably in the books was Kingsley Shacklebolt, who's barely in these
Kingsley
movies.
Shacklebolt. That's the name of the person we were trying to talk about, who comes to tell them at the wedding.
Yes.
Yes.
It's Kingsley Shacklebolt. That's it. Well done. Yeah.
I just noticed him in the background there with his purple robes on, looking pretty awesome.
Yeah. Wait. No. That's not. That is Mad-Eye Moody.
No, the guy in the background with the earring on and the like Egyptian hat thing.
Just
Where are
behind
you looking?
Tonks. Just
Looking
behind
right
Tonks.
behind Tonks, you can see a dude's ear, and he's wearing an earring, and it's the.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I
Of
think
course,
that's- he's part of the party that goes to Grimmauld.
That's right. Yeah, and he's the
Grimmauld.
Muggle. He's the bodyguard for the Muggle Prime Minister. Because that's the whole thing. So I thought you were looking after the Muggle Prime Minister. And says, yeah, you're more important tonight.
Okay.
And obviously there we are. Tonks and Lupin. Oh, it's just savage, isn't it?
That is awful. Oh, Fred.
I mean, to be
Fred
fair, that's not as
goes.
savage because there's two of them. You know what I mean?
Split up the twins.
They're identical.
We lose Scrimgeour.
Yeah.
We
Is he a baddie,
lose.
though? I couldn't figure it out. He looks like a baddie. He's pulling a very
I'm not a big fan.
baddie-like
We lose
face.
Grindelwald. Sorry, Grindelwald. Sorry, Grindelwald.
Okay.
Sorry, we lose Grindelwald. There we go. We lose.
Shit. I've just realised.
Colin Creevy.
Oh, little Colin.
Creevy.
Little Cole.
Peter Pettigrew. But
Nobody's sad about that. Little
In the
shit.
films, it's funny
He's
because in the
redeemed
films,
himself.
well, it's interesting because in the films, he just gets stunned and locked in the cell at Malfoy Manor. But in the book, he's about to kill Harry, and Harry's like, after I spared your life. And there's a moment of thinking, and he has this silver hand that Voldemort in the fourth one, because he chopped the hand off because that's how Voldemort came back in the spell.
Yeah.
Gave him a silver hand.
Right,
yeah,
well
exactly.
remembered, dude. Jesus,
And
that's
he
well remembered. That
gave him the silver hand, and Harry's like, after I saved your life, after I spared you. And in the moment of pausing where Pettigrew's like, oh shit, yes, suddenly this magic hand that Voldemort gave him strangles him to fucking death. And
Because he
that's how
realised he
dies in
was
the book.
thinking about helping Harry. That is
Exactly.
madness.
man.
It's brilliant.
Jeez,
It's brilliant.
what a bad guy. Won't even let you redeem yourself, Will Voldemort.
We lose Bathilda Bagshot. We lose Crabbe or Goyle, depending which in the film it's different. We lose Snape.
Oh,
we lose
Snape.
Voldemort. We lose
Nobody's sad.
Nagini. It is just an absolute death fest.
Carnage.
We lose. Yeah, we lose.
Cressida.
I can't remember her name.
What's she called?
Charity Burbage, whatever her name is.
Cabbage.
Babbage.
Chesty Babbage.
Chastity Babbage. It does sound like a wizard's name, to be
It
fair.
really does sound like a Harry Potter name, that, doesn't it? Chastity Babbage.
But Nat, you do.
Wow, Nev.
go.
Hello,
Yeah.
Neville.
And that's it. That is this. And then we obviously have the cutscene at the end where we jump like 13 years in the
What
future,
do we
18
think
years
about
in
the
20 years
aging?
later.
What do you think
I
about the
mean-
aging? Should they have used different actors?
Yes.
Yes.
I think they should do.
Yes.
Yeah, they were too, they all looked too fresh faced to believe that they were.
When you look at how well they've done the casting in Yellow Jackets between the young girls and then themselves as sort of middle-aged women, it's perfect now. Honestly,
Yeah.
the casting
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
stunning. They look like you wouldn't believe it. So it is perfectly reasonable to expect them to have been able to find some growth. I mean, J.K. Rowling's husband looks like Daniel Radcliffe. Looks like Harry Potter. He'd have been a brilliant person at
I
the
didn't
end.
know she
to
was
do it.
married. I thought she was.
Yeah, she married a guy who looks exactly like Harry Potter.
Okay. Can we
Yeah.
do a little? I've got something to postulate here, and it's about the
Oh,
Harry Potter
postulate.
world as a sort of final thoughts. Something I've realised. Right, Jerry, I'm doing a Jerry Springer.
Springer's
But,
final thoughts.
Take care of
My
yourself.
final thoughts are is if I found a mirror where I could gaze into it and stare at my dead dad, I don't think I'd do that. Is that weird? Where do you stand on
Is
that?
that
If
because
you've
you're
got-
So
older?
you say that again. I was a little bit distracted because Bobby had said this, and I
it's
took a moment to go,
Bobby.
dude,
Thanks,
and it
Bobby.
meant that
Bobby,
I
we
didn't
love you
listen.
too, Bobby.
We
Love
do.
you too, buddy. I didn't get what your question was, though, Webby.
So,
What
well,
was
it's
it?
not a question. It's more of if you had access to a mirror that allowed you to see lost loved ones, would you stare at it like Harry Potter? I don't think I would want to see my dad. I think my dad would probably be like, "What the fuck? Go away!"
Oh, I
What are you
don't
doing?
No,
know.
but he was very
I
young,
think
wasn't
in the
he?
immediate
Like
aftermath.
he was
Slightly
very young,
different.
wasn't he? Like,
Yeah, and
and
I
he
wasn't
never
Know what
knew
his
them.
parents look
Yeah.
like either, probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
He
Is there
never
any
knew
other
them at that
things that you
point.
guys could think of that like either fundamentally bug you or you would want to do from the Harry Potter world? I know changing your hair color is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but
I want to be
so
tongue.
is changing into a motherfucking animal is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Feel when you like want to.
I just
Not
want that
even
bottomless
immediately.
bag.
Yeah.
for me, it was the whole Hogwarts experience of going to a magical school. That for me, watching and reading the books in particular, made me wish that magic existed and that I could be a kid that was a wizard going
But
to a
this
magical
is the
school.
thing. This is why it's got such a
Going
good
to a
premise.
Hogwarts.
Everybody feels like an alien at school. Everybody.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
matter who you are, you generally, unless you're one of the bloody yellow jackets and you fit right in, you know what I mean? Everybody feels like a loner at school. So it accesses that part of all of us, which is I could handle the shitness and boringness and loneliness of school if I was a fucking famous magician. I
Yeah.
might
Or if
make
you're
it
just a magician.
Yeah.
You're just a magician. You could do, awesome things like And I guess if you were, I guess the ideal situation is if you were a Muggle that found you had magic ability, exactly like Harry, and suddenly a letter turns up going, "You're a wizard, and you're coming to this really awesome boarding school castle where we're going to teach you magic, and there's going to be all these awesome magical creatures, and Engorgio."
That's quite.
I'll be.
It's quite funny that even in a school full of magic, there's still a bunch of prick. You've still got to put up with the other people,
Of
the
course,
shit
yeah,
teachers,
exactly.
the knobhead kids, the different houses. I tell
And
you
you've got
another one that I quite
exams
like.
and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's millions and millions of examples of little
Someone
things
trying to kill you.
that
Yeah.
Rowling does throughout these books that make you go, "That's a cool idea," right? But one of my favorites is the night bus. I love the fact there's a bus that can pick up a lost wizard and take them where they need to go. And
I like that too.
yeah,
that's pretty
that
cool.
is pretty cool.
I think my favorite bits, coming from Harry's point of view, but I kind of get it, is his two favorite places are Hogwarts and the Burrow. Because they're both incredibly homely. And they're not Privet Drive. Yeah. It's where exactly. It's great. It's a really brilliant series of books, and it's an acceptable series of films.
It's not often, is it, that a series of books comes along that essentially rewrites the Jesus story so well that you don't realize you're reading the Jesus story. So there was The Lord of the Rings, there was The Chronicles of Narnia, there's Harry Potter, Star Wars, and there's stories that stay with you because it's the ultimate triumph of good over evil when all seems lost.
And essentially, we all feel like the hero at some point, and we all feel like the villain, I guess. But most of us want to believe that we would be Harry, or we would be Jesus, or we would be that lead character, the person who understands the complexity of what you need to do. But
would we be brave enough? Would you be brave enough to do that? I'd love to have been able to read these books from being 11. I'd love to have done what some people were lucky enough to do and read them every year as they went through their sort of the high school. I mean, I found they came out when I was in my 20s.
I started reading them at university. When I was at university, I started reading them. So I was 22 when,
not only that you just said what you just said, Nat, about Rowling writing these and them being massively successful and up there with things like Lord of the Rings and everything else, but she's a fucking billionaire from these books. A billionaire from books. Like Stephen King's written fucking
from seven of them.
books.
She's written 7.
He's not a billionaire.
She's written bits.
Yeah, she's written other bits as well, but I mean, she's obviously done some very savvy business deals, getting the market in the right place. The movies didn't hurt, I'm sure, but she's a fucking billionaire from these books, and that just blows my mind. I think that's practically unheard of if you think about the history of it. I mean, maybe George Lucas, who never wrote books of Star Wars, they were just films, weren't they? Picked from other movies. So it's slightly different. He's a billionaire as well, I'm guessing, because of his savvy production companies and the industrial light and magic, selling his fortune to Disney. You know, it's not just from the Star Wars properties. It's a combination of efforts, and I'm sure J.K. Rowling has made some really clever, smart decisions as well. But that just blows my mind. She's a billionaire from it.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows how many units of Harry Potter she's shifted, but that'd be it.
Do you think she sees herself, now it's all over and done with, as like her life having a similarity to the Harry Potter arc, this kind of poor existence and then suddenly superstardom and fame and fortune?
I'm surprised that she has the option, being at her level, she had the option to say, 7 books done. I'm never talking about Harry Potter again. It's done. I want to move on. She's always willing to talk about it. She's always talking about the different, the different.
She's always going back and retrospectively correcting things
she
as well.
nearly did, and things that happened after.
I just Googled, so over 500 million copies sold of Harry Potter books around the world, and of the top 100 best-selling books of all time, number 1, the Da Vinci Code, and then 2, 3, 4 are Harry Potter books, and 6, 7, 8 are Harry Potter books, and 10 is a Harry Potter book. And literally the only books in between them are Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. At number 9, Dan Brown's Angels or Demons, and at number 5 is 50 Shades of Grey. The rest of the top 10, all Harry Potter.
Fairly depressing list of books though to have in the top 10. Let's face it.
I mean, we can do better than that. I mean, the Da Vinci Code was a real time and place book. If you go back to it, it's actually a big load of wank.
Yeah,
it just makes you feel really clever because every chapter it's 2 pages long, so you feel like you're really clever.
But it's also a conspiracy theorist wet dream as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
and every chapter finished on a cliffhanger.
50, Bobby. You look 50. You're younger than that.
Bobby, what do you think of Stephen King's fantasy novels? Have you read The Dark Tower?
I highly recommend the Dark Tower series to you, Bobby.
Amazing.
The first book's a toughie, but it's also really short.
Yeah, once you get past that,
amazing.
oh my God, unbelievable.
That's when I really started to believe in. I've always liked Stephen King in a kind of I hope nobody notices I like Stephen King way, because people say stuff, don't they? You like horror, you like this, you like that. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, Stephen King's. People take the piss.
Yeah, I
mean,
really,
I've never noticed that before.
Amongst books like The Shining and Carrie and things that are really, really famous, there is a lot of horror pulp stuff. But Dark Tower is basically, look at what else I can do.
And it's great.
Did you fucking even think about this? No, you didn't. You were too busy worrying about Misery and whether.
Yeah. But you know what is that annoys me? Misery, Pet Sematary, Carrie, all the books that they trash. The Shining, fantastically written. Like one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best authors I've ever read, Stephen King, right? And then you've got things like The Shawshank Redemption, The Body, Apt Pupil, fantastically written. The Stand. The Stand is unbelievable. The Dark Tower series, which is his fantasy stuff, is unbelievable. But he just gets tarred with this. It wasn't until The Shining and Misery, the Stand By Me and Misery were brilliantly made films from the books and did them justice. But it wasn't
neither of them are horrors.
Neither, exactly. But it wasn't until Frank Darabont came along and started taking on The Green Mile, which is unbelievable to read. The Green Mile, The Shawshank Redemption, The Mist. Somebody who actually understood and respected Stephen King as an author, not
exactly what he did with The Walking Dead as well. Exactly what he did with The Walking Dead, and then was shat on by AMC.
I totally agree. And not only that, what was the last book that Stephen King wrote that you could class as a horror? Because to my knowledge, he's not actually doing that anymore. Maybe Doctor Sleep, which is a little bit horror-y.
I loved Doctor Sleep, but they've all been sort of crime with a supernatural edge, like
Yeah.
the Mr. Mercedes trilogy,
Outsider,
The Outsider, yeah.
Institute.
Billy Summers. The Institute was great. I love The Institute. I've got Billy Summers here. I haven't started it yet. He's bringing a fairy tale one out next, which
Okay.
yeah, that's
I'm a little
Interesting.
behind
out
on
for
the
pre-order.
Stephen King thing. Well, I'm not. I'm a little behind on the book thing. My iPad's just ruined my reading experience. So yeah, but yeah, amazing. If you like that sort of thing, Bobby, I highly recommend the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get
it's
yourself
something
stuck in, kid.
completely different.
Well, guys, it's been lovely getting to catch up and finish this Harry Potter main series. Yeah, it's been really nice to kind of complete it. I do feel like we should go back and do the original ones that we did, but as a pre-record, stick out on the channel, just so we've got like one for each book, because it would be nice to go into more detail about the other ones.
I'd really like, being the only person that's not seen it, I'd really like to do a Cursed Child one and have you guys sort of explain to me what.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, cool. Well up for doing that.
I think I want
to do scenes from it, Nat. We can do scenes from it, Nat.
Bobby, yeah, we can. Yeah, we can read it. We can do readings.
That's what I'm thinking.
Bobby,
I might try to
yes,
get a copy
Bobby,
of it
yes.
and read it as well. Yeah, man.
Bobby, I'm falling in love with you a little bit. Bobby likes Stephen King. Bobby likes Lord of the Rings.
Like, did you see the series, Nat?
Which James one? Sorry.
Franco? Is it 11?
Yes,
12,
20, yeah. It was a fantastic book. Oh, so good. Cried at the end, but the series was good. It
was all right, wasn't it? Not too bad.
And so was The Outsider. That was a good series too.
Oh yeah, I liked that. That was brilliant. In fact, Rich, that's one I'd recommend to you. Ben Mendelsohn is fucking amazing in that.
Yep.
Okay.
You know, Ben Mendelsohn is the guy from Rogue One who plays the Imperial Guard, the Krennic guard.
Listen to, like, obviously all the chats we've had about horror and Stephen King, things like that. I think you would really enjoy the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah,
I've actually got it on my. At the very beginning, when you started talking about it, I surreptitiously turned on my Netflix and I've put it on my, not my Sky, and I've downloaded the first episode.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Well, it's been lovely hanging out with you both this week. I'm not going to be around next week, but I know Lummy is going to be back. I think Gary's still going to be filming. I start rehearsals next week.
I've just got you back,
another show. Sorry, my love. I start rehearsals for another show next week for a couple of weeks, and then I'm back. I'm back for good.
Want you back?
Want me back?
Yeah,
there we go. I was waiting for somebody. Right.
Okay.
Webby.
Yes.
Thanks, buddy. It's been lovely hanging out with you, dude. Getting to Potter it up with you.
I like testing the old Potter memory banks, man, because it might be massive gaps in what the fuck's going on. I keep bringing stuff up from 7 books ago, like, oh yeah, look at the bit where he ate the chocolate frog.
Oh, we enjoyed you, Bobby.
You're our new favourite viewer, mate.
Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, Bobby.
Pull your best Weasley face before we go.
There we go. Oh, that's a good one, Nat. That's a good one. I like it.
We should have got a screenshot of that. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sure I can do that. I'm sure I can arrange that. Don't you worry, Nat. I can arrange that. Right, well, listen, guys, we'll be back next week. Usual time, usual place. Don't forget to share the heck out of our content, because that's how we create a bigger audience and increase our collective nerd knowledge. But for this week, my name has been Gittins, that's been Webby, and that has been the Smeat Dog herself, Natalie Smeaton. And we will see you next week. And thank you very, very much, Bobby. We're looking forward to seeing you too, buddy.
Absolutely.
See you next week. Have a good one.
Love you, Bobby.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And Gorgio.
Bye, Martin.